What's going on, Geeks? You're listening to episode 369 of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. My name's Cody Armour. I'm here with Lj.Lowery.
Yo.
And Shelley Nollan.
Hello.
This week, we're geeking out about remasters we don't need. It's not a zombie if it's not dead yet, Sony. Just saying. The definitive Karate Kid and Star Wars fans actually being happy about something for once.
No way.
We'll get into it. Before we do that, we are going to have two more podcasts. The last podcast will be recorded on the 11th of December, and then, so the last one will be released the 14th is what that would be, right? No, 13th.
Yes.
13th. Yeah, that Wednesday. We're going to take just a month break, enjoy Christmas and New Year's and all of that good stuff, and then we'll be back after that. But you got 2 more weeks with us, so hang in there before the season. We don't have seasons, but before the season's over. Yeah. We've never done like there's no recorded season for sure.
right.
But we usually take a few weeks off in the month of December, just spend time with family and all that.
Yeah, now that I work retail, it's like I don't know what I could be prepared for. So
right, it can get crazy.
I mean, I've done this once already, but this year I don't know if it's going to get busier or not. So,
well, we will get into the video games we've been playing. LJ, what you got?
Yeah, so I've been hitting the backlog a bit.
Nice.
And so I've been playing the first Alan Wake because I was very surprised that Alan Wake 2 got on like the Game of the Year nomination list. And I've heard it's really good. I mean, I've heard that I don't think I've ever heard anybody say like, "Oh yeah, this is a Game of the Year contender," but I've heard it's really good. So I'm like, all right, cool. Let me go back and play the first one. The first one's been sitting in my backlog, and it's very of the era 360, gameplay shooting mechanic gimmick. You have to shine the light at these like they're not zombies. They're like these like weird dark like creatures that are like these people. They're like corrupted like dark versions of people that are like chasing you. They're like axe murderer kind of things that are coming after you all the time. But you basically shine the light at them until they like go like that or whatever, and then you can shoot them and actually like, kill them. So they're like dark beings or whatever. It might literally be just like a figurative thing of like darkness, because in the second one I'm told that Alan Wake he's stuck in what's called the dark place, so I assume this is what that's going to lead into.
The dark place.
That's literally
Mysterious.
What they call. I hear as many times as they mentioned the dark place, you can turn that into a drinking game probably in the second one.
Oh no.
So I've heard it's good, but the first one is good. It's fun. So yeah, I'm definitely going to try to finish that, and then play the second one. The other thing I kind of got back into randomly, I think it's because me and my brother got back into it, and also I kind of dropped off Mortal Kombat 1 really hard, but I've been playing Street Fighter 6 again, which has been really cool. This has also got me thinking, like, I really did enjoy Spider-Man 2, but I thought for sure, like, I was like, oh, Spider-Man 2 is going to be my game of the year. I already know it. And then when it came out, I'm like, okay, this is still really good. But I don't think it's my game of the year. I think Street Fighter 6 is my game of the year. I've just had so much fun with it. I've been back to it multiple times since then. It's gotten a lot of casual fans into Street Fighter. I never thought, so I knew I'd probably be, I'd probably compete and I'd probably do like a local tournament for some game, probably Tekken or something. But if somebody told me a year ago that I was going to go to a Street Fighter 6 tournament, I'd be like, that's funny. But that's what I did this year. So it's just, it has that impact, or it's definitely a moment in my life where I'm like, oh wow, like this is the time I actually like did something like that. And so,
Cool.
I mean, I did that Evo online one at Tekken, but it just was not with Tekken, but it was just not the same. So I think it's really neat. It still holds up a lot. I'm waiting for, I think there's 1 or 2 more DLC characters that I'm waiting for. So I'm still going to be playing that. And I think even Tekken comes out in January. Tekken 8, so yeah, Street Fighter 6 is definitely my game of the year over Spider-Man. I've decided. So yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Cool. What about you, Shelley?
Nothing new. I think I maybe have successfully avoided the Steam sale. I think I was just too busy with Thanksgiving, and I was visiting family and stuff.
Ooh.
So I kind
Did
of
it actually
forgot
end?
the Steam sale was happening, and then I looked and I was like, all these games would be nice, but I'm so backlog golf pilled that I'm like, no, I'm not gonna buy any new games. I have games I'm playing. And the 2 games I'm playing, to be fair, are very long games. And games that I'll be essentially replaying at some point. I mean, Baldur's Gate 3, Daniel and I are already talking about our next playthrough, but we are still playing Baldur's Gate 3. We are like super officially in Act 3 at this point. We're like in the city, which is cool, and I won't say anything more other than, oh my gosh, the PS5 cannot handle being in the city. Act 1 and 2, I mean, there were glitches, but the pop-ins are a little crazy in this part, just popping in the buildings and the people. It's kind of intense. It's not too bad. Like, I've seen worse, but it's a little not great. And like things are loading really slowly. The game doesn't.
That's wild.
It's having a hard time when one of us is at camp and one of us is out running around, which it never really used to be much of an issue. Like, even if someone is doing inventory and the other person isn't, like, already that slows the game down like a lot. And I don't know if it's from a patch. I don't know if it's just because there's so many physical objects on the screen in this last section. It could be the case. But it's also slightly reminiscent of how I'm feeling about Act 3 in general, too. There's just so many things to do, which is, you'd think would be a good thing. But I think for me, I've already, almost 100 hours into this game, and I kind of just want to finish the game. But there's so many quests to sort of wrap up and finish up and do. So we may be like just prioritizing the companion quests and then just beating the game. I don't know. We'll see. It seems like every building you walk into has something important. Every person you talk to has something important. And I have the like, oh, I don't want to miss out and not do this thing. But also, I don't know if I care that much. Just like, maybe a little burnout. I don't know. Game's still fun for sure. It's just like, I don't know. This Act 3 is like, it's just huge. And we've only like scratched the surface. I already know. Because everyone I've talked to says it's even bigger than Act 1, and Act 1 was already huge.
Wow.
Act 2 was great, in my opinion, because it was very straightforward, and it was very plot-centric, and there wasn't a lot of side content, which I think a lot of people are just like, yeah, it's kind of the worst, because there's not a lot of things you could do, and whereas me, I'm like, it's straight to the point, it's very clear what you're supposed to do, it's awesome in that way, so, I don't know, maybe I get overwhelmed with choice or something, but definitely still playing that game, and playing Persona 3. I am far past where I used to be at this point, which is great. I am like, I mean, I don't really know how far in I am. I'd like to think I'm over halfway, but I don't really know. There's a certain number of shadows you have to be. It's people who know this game know what I'm talking about, and I think I have like 3 left. And so I don't know. And generally speaking, how the game has been working is you fight one of those big shadows every month because it goes off the moon cycle, which I think is really cool because, I mean, every Persona game has their sort of unique way of controlling time and restricting time. You know, Persona 5, you have the palace thing where it's like, oh, if you don't complete the palace by this time, then you're going to get expelled or something. Like something external is going to happen. And you need to have the thing done. You have to change the person's heart before then. In Persona 4, if there was a very defined, we go by the weather because we know that someone dies the day before fog comes out. And so we can look at the weather and notice, hey, there's going to be fog scheduled this day. So we know we need to wrap this thing up before then. Whereas this game, in Persona 3, it's like super duper, not wishy-washy at all. It is always the full moon. Every month, as far as we could tell. I mean, maybe things will change at the end game, but I think that's really cool. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's hindsight bias. I love Persona 5 Royal, but I feel like these games are getting better as I play them. Like, at this point, I think Persona 4 Golden might still be my favorite at this point, if you were to ask me on the spot. But Persona 3's story really is really good so far. And the characters. Just really different feel. Super different feel. All the games have very different feels, which I also love. So, anyway. Also, please be the female protagonist of Persona. At least if you're a girl. It's great. It's the best, in my opinion. I just need more female protagonists, especially in Persona games. Because every Persona game has every Atlas game, I swear, has fan service syndrome. There's just fan service parts that I hate, and it's in every game. But at least in this game, because you're a woman and you're the one getting objectified, it almost makes it better because then you could call them out, be like, "Hey, you're being weird." And I'm like, "Thank goodness." I never liked being on the other end of that, being a guy, and all the guys are like simping for the girls and being like, "Oh, we're on the beach, we're doing everyone's in swimsuits," or like, we're at the spa, this is great. I just hated, they were the worst scenes ever. So at least now I get to be with ladies, and I get to support them and support myself and stand up for myself a little bit. I don't know. It seems weird. Like, I wouldn't want to be the one to get objectified, but I think I'm the one, I think I just can relate. I don't know what it is, but I need Persona to bring back female protagonists, because I think it's Persona 2 or 2.5. There's a female protagonist, but I haven't played those. Not yet. So, anyway, just having a really good experience with the games, but they're just going to take forever, and they have been taking forever, and maybe that's another reason why I don't really feel the need to buy new games, because these games are just taking a long time, and eventually I know I'm going to buy Reload. Probably not when it comes out, but eventually I'm going to buy Reload, and then it's just me playing Persona 3 again, and I'm just like, oh. But if I save money, maybe it's not for the best. But anyway, that's all I'm playing.
Cool.
I have finished Horizon Forbidden West, and then for some reason bought the DLC last night.
How long did it take you? Or do you remember how many hours you had?
I didn't look at the hours on it.
Okay.
But I've been playing since July, so...
No, that's what I mean. I'm like, dang.
August?
See, that's why I still need to play that game and finish Ghost. All the games I play are so long, and I don't need new games. Anyway,
yeah, I do want 100% Ghost of Tsushima eventually. I still feel like that's like the really one. Cool. It's so massive too. Like, I beat it.
The side quests in this were really cool, but they were like not as satisfying. So I don't think you need to like do everything I did. If that makes it any easier and less intimidating, because I don't think the story itself is very long. It's just, yeah, I played so many side missions. The side missions were good.
Nice.
Some of them made me real sad. They had some good story-driven stuff. The ending is very predictable, and that was kind of unfortunate. Oh. They had a twist. Twist is... I'm glad that they did a twist. It's a predictable twist. Yeah. I'd set up for a sequel, and now I'm kind of excited for this DLC. I don't know why I bought the DLC. Like, I don't need to play any more of this game. I've played so many side quests, and this is going to be more side quests. But it's Burning Shores, and there's a Hollywood sign. Aloy's going to Hollywood. I was like, I gotta.
I really want to see somebody just play it, so that way, like, because, I'm from Southern California. I'm from that area. So it would be cool if, like, there's, like, the Santa Monica Pier, which is, like, the most famous pier, one of the most famous piers in Southern California. So it's, like, or, like, Venice Beach or whatever. Like, I just want to see what they do with a post-apocalyptic, like, Southern California. I think it'd be so cool.
I'm hoping, I think Disneyland's in San Diego, right?
It's in Anaheim. Yeah.
Anaheim? Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they would have Disneyland, but I want a theme park. I think that would be really cool to, like, see Aloy come across.
They would probably do, like, a movie-themed one, like Universal Studios, because Universal Studios is closer. It's literally in Hollywood.
Right.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. I don't know theme parks very well, but I think that would be so cool to, like, see the roller coasters coming out of the ground.
You could literally go into... It's not, like, Orlando close, but it's like you could literally go to Universal and drive in an hour, maybe 45 minutes, and then end up at Disneyland if you wanted.
That's cool. Crazy. So I'm going to play that, and then I'll get into Cyberpunk when I'm done with it. But
nice.
I'm almost nervous to get back into Cyberpunk because it's been so long. And that was part of the reason I bought it, was I was like, I'm in it now. I might as well get it done.
I keep hearing I should just restart it, and I'm like, I don't want to do that, but I probably
It'd be such a drag. There's no way.
I know, I've played so much of that first one, and I know I'm probably not close to even beating it, but it's just like, I've done so much work already.
Yeah. That's all that I've been playing. I finally finished it.
Nice.
I wish I knew the hours off the top of my head, but yeah, it had to be done. There was more to do, and I was just like, I can't do more.
It had to be done.
Yeah. The missions are so similar in gameplay. I was just like, that's why I'm starting with the DLC. I'm like, am I going to enjoy this DLC? Or did I just give myself a chore? We'll find out. Yeah, what's going on in the gaming world, LJ?
Yeah. So while we're talking about Sony stuff, I'm just gonna move. Actually, wait. This is all Sony. What am I saying? So I was like, oh wait. The voice actor who plays Venom in the Spider-Man 2 video game has said, I guess he said at a convention recently, that they've only used 10% of his dialogue that he recorded. So that's leading to speculation of Venom DLC. And then... so I think it's interesting that they would do this. I think it would make sense. There are things that tease like Carnage and stuff. Obviously, it's like a symbiote thing. So if they somehow did maybe brought Carnage into it as early as the DLC, I think that would be cool. Spider-Man 2 is already so ambitious with all the villains and everything going on that I feel like it was a lot. Like I was it was a little overwhelming by the end of things without saying too much. But I feel like there's definitely stuff in the game that teases that Carnage is going to be a thing. Venom would be dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to spoil things, but Venom... Yeah. The voice actor for Venom, he doesn't have many lines. He doesn't talk that much. He really doesn't. In the game.
But when he does, though, it's
great. It's really good. So that's why I'm excited to hear if there is more. I'm just hoping that it's not something where they changed their plan with Venom halfway through and they end up using some of his lines. That's what I hope doesn't happen, or isn't the case. I hope all of that can be used, or at least some of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably could have very well been scrapped stuff, too.
True, I mean, that's normal, but...
This is just speculation, though, but I'd be about it. I'd totally be about it. There's something special to me, about every Spider-Man game where you get to play as Venom. I know it's not been done before, but I'm this feels like a part of... It feels like the part of every almost series. There's definitely been 3 or 4 games now where I'm just that's such a cool moment for me. Since playing this old beat 'em up, Maximum Carnage beat 'em up as a kid, I thought it was so cool. It's basically like a Spider-Man beat 'em up game that was like Streets of Rage or Double Dragon. And there's I think 2 levels in the old game. It's oh, who do you want to play as now? And so you can the moment where as a kid, as maybe an 8-year-old kid, maybe 7. Where it's oh, you could be Venom too? What? So I just it's so cool. Just give me more Venom. I'm here for it. So. Yeah. And then the next piece of news is Naughty Dog related, and there is a Last of Us 2 remaster coming.
Why?
Exactly.
It feels pretentious.
It's because the show is coming out, guys. It's because the show is successful.
No, that's why we got Last of Us
Part 1.
Remaster. Yeah, Part 1.
Well, Season 2's coming. They're going to start filming Season 2, I think, in January or February. Or something.
No, it's not how it works, Sony.
I know.
Greed and pretentiousness. You could say all you want. Oh, well, we wanted to, release our game with the highest settings, the highest... That changes monthly,
Microsoft
that changes
patches.
so often. How technology just in general, graphics in general, change so often. And so does that mean you're gonna release another one when the PS6 comes out or whatever? Right?
Probably another Last of Us remaster.
It's you don't deserve it.
Part 1.
I'm gonna say it. It's not deserved.
So they're gonna do Part 1 and 2, but all in one game.
Yeah, they would. They would, and they will.
The collection, the Last of Us collection.
I just saw Cody's gears turning I
just,
they will.
It just feels pretentious
Last
where
of Us
they're
collection.
well, it needs to, we're such a great game that we need to be experienced on the highest, etc., etc. And I'm your game the original game already looks just fine. It looks so wonderful.
Yeah.
It looks amazing.
It's funny because they did this with Uncharted 4 for PS5 and the upgrade path. Yes, there's an upgrade path. That's $10.
$10.
Yeah, and so apparently, I guess there is like some new content here. There's like some graphical updates. Apparently, there's like a new roguelike mode they did or something, which I'm like, okay, that sounds cool. Knowing me, I might check it out just because I'm dumb like that.
Why not make part 3?
Yeah,
It'd be kind of hard to do.
A lot of like indie games that I know and love. The developers will just release free DLC.
Yep.
They'll release free updates that add as much as this.
Yeah,
it's
just patch
free.
the game.
Yep.
Just patch the game.
A new mode, yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3, while their patches haven't necessarily been super content-based, they've put a ton of stuff in these patches. They've done lots of fixes. They've done lots of added dialogue options, added like a ton of like, not necessarily new gameplay per se, but all I'm saying is it's possible, and that's all free. They're doing it all free, by the way, because they're just patches. It's like $10 doesn't sound like a lot, because it's like, well, it's not having to buy the $60 game again. It's like, yeah, but you already own the stupid game. There's barely any changes. Like, it should be. Like, I was already kind of miffed with Ghost of Tsushima. I didn't want to have to, like, I had just bought the game, and then, like, a month later, they released their new fancy version for PS5, and I was like, well, I guess I'll get it, because I was so tired of, like, I needed it in Japanese, and I needed lip syncing to be Japanese. I was going insane hearing Japanese with English mouth movements.
Yeah.
I was going crazy. Like, it is just not, I hated it. So, and I did not want to listen to English. So, that was honestly my biggest reason to get the remaster. But I remember I was even upset having to pay. Because I'm like, there's barely any changes in this. Like, it looks like it's slightly better frame
even on the PS5 before that director's cut update came out, I was like, oh, I mean, I guess I didn't have like a PS4 Pro at the time, you know, when I got a PS5.
It's gorgeous, and it
was still like gorgeous and like ran smooth.
It's just annoying. Like, come on, release a free update. Like, stop being greedy. Like, I mean, that's what I mean. Is like
Microsoft
indie
just
devs
patches
will do
all their
the time.
stuff.
Yeah, Microsoft too. Like, so many other people.
It's like
have no problems.
You literally, whenever I got the Series S, and then I plugged in my hard drive with a bunch of original stuff on it, they basically gave me the option. It's like, oh, your game has a next gen upgrade. Do you want to like install the update? And I was like, heck yes. That's all they need to do. The sad part is that everything I kind of like we joked about already happened with Uncharted 4. So even before that, they had the Nathan Drake collection, which was PS3 games anyway. So they upped those to 4. Sure, you didn't make your stuff backwards compatible, but it's like, okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. But then they did Uncharted 4, which is also like those are older games, Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy. They actually put those together into a collection, and it's funny because Uncharted Lost Legacy was started out as Uncharted 4 DLC anyway. And they made that like a lower budget like sequel or like spinoff. Yeah. So I was like, I think it's funny that they've already, you know, for a game that was again looked and played amazingly, they're like, oh, we're gonna put out this remaster, and then they did the same thing for $10 too. I think that's Sony's upgrade path, like no matter what. So like, let's say you get a PS4. Let's say you got a PS4 and you played Horizon Forbidden West or God of War Ragnarok. When you get a PS5, I think you still have to pay that $10 fee to upgrade.
Yep.
Which is dumb.
Yeah. It's just...
Yep.
It's just annoying.
Like, yeah, it is.
I don't know. Comparing how the way Sony treats games versus Microsoft treats games versus, like, Nintendo treats games.
Yeah.
It's all just weird. All of them have problems. They're all kind of weird, but, like... I don't know. I don't like this. Because Nintendo also will just, like, do free patches all the time.
Yeah.
Or DLC. It's not... There's no in between. It's either free patches and free updates that usually have a lot of good stuff in it, or it's a DLC that you're expected to pay for because it's paid DLC, and that's fine.
I think it's like this, like, but... I don't know what Sony... I don't know what I could compare Sony to, but I feel like Nintendo is like that ice cream truck that comes around like once in a while in your neighborhood and wants to sell you the same thing, and you're just like, oh, I'm still gonna buy this. And then Microsoft is like that cool uncle that just like bribes your favorite developer or something. Like, here's money. Like,
Yeah.
I do want to
Yeah.
mention. I just thought about this though. We can't forget that Switch, when it came out, they just remastered everything on the Wii U that was good.
They did, and still charged. Actually, yeah, and they charged full price.
Full price.
Never mind. I hate
Yep.
them still. You're right.
Pokken
that's-
and Mario Kart was a big
They're
one.
the same with remasters. You're right, and they don't even really.
That's why I said they're like
changing that much.
the ice cream truck that comes by every now and then. You're still gonna get the when you're a kid, you're still gonna get the ice cream that's got the googly gumball eyes. That's all messed up, you know.
Yeah, it's the same price as before. And then,
But on the other hand, with that, it was like those Wii U games probably didn't port well. They probably actually had to put work into them,
Right.
and then they never really did. Like no one played them on the Wii U, so like people didn't buy these anyways. We're fine.
Yeah.
But
Anyway,
yeah,
yeah. So that's kind of it. We do got the Game Awards coming up, and so I think that's been most of the debate is all the Game Awards and stuff. So,
when is the Game Awards again?
ooh, that's actually on the 7th.
The 7th. Okay.
So that's Thursday. I believe we are again. I think we are doing something that night on our Twitch channel. I haven't seen otherwise. So yeah, should be awesome.
Cool. We'll get into the movies then. Shelley, you didn't watch any movies, right?
no, well, technically I did, but nothing to talk about. I just watched Beyond or Across the Spider-Verse for like the third or fourth time. That's all.
Yeah.
Still amazing, by the
It's
way.
good.
Still-
That's
still
awesome.
so good.
I love it.
I like showed my friends and family, and I forgot to tell them that there's gonna be a third one. I also didn't know when I watched it, so I was like, "No, you get to suffer, and you
Well,
get to."
I think we did. We just didn't know it was going to end like that. Like we didn't know it was going to be straight up like.
I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't know there was gonna be a third one in general, but
Because they
anyway.
started it as it was going to be Across the Spider-Verse Part 1 and Part 2.
I didn't
I
even know that though.
I still didn't think that it was going to like just be like.
The
boom.
way it ended though is
And
really
done.
crazy. Anyway,
Yep.
that's all. That's all.
I watched a couple different things. First of all, John Wick 4, finally.
Yes.
And it was good. We were going to watch The Extraction 2 on Netflix. And I literally
Yep.
started the movie up. And he was like, what is this? And I'm like, it's kind of like Netflix's version of John Wick. And then paused for a second and was like, we never watched John Wick 4. Let's do that instead. So we went and paid for it on Amazon. So I've not
Nice.
seen Extraction 2. But John Wick is so fun. The Japanese
Yes.
setting is so cool. The cyberpunk going on. Loved it. Love cyberpunk. That universe makes no sense.
It doesn't, but that's like the best part of it. Like is
I read a thing because I wanted to know, for those who haven't watched these movies, watch the crowd around these fights when there are crowds, and they don't respond at all. They just like go about their day while people are like jumping over cars and stuff.
Have you ever played a fighting game?
Yeah,
That's basically
exactly.
like a fighting game. Like, oh, we're just gonna sit here in the background and do stuff.
Like
while
they're
these
literally
two
just
dudes
going about
fight.
their day.
Like, yeah.
I noticed it the worst when they were there's a scene, not to get too much more, where they're in a club and there are people dancing and they're literally like killing each other around these people who are just continue to dance, and they will like shimmy out of the way when they need to.
Crazy.
And I was
Yeah.
like, what is going on? So I looked it up and because I wanted an explanation. I was like, they can't just be and so it's can't like headcanon. It's not
campy.
necessarily proven, but the theory is that there's kind of like an unspoken rule in their world that as long as you don't interact with the assassins, you won't get killed.
Yeah,
And
that makes
interacting with them would be a reason that you would die. So you just
Because everybody's a dang assassin, it feels like, in those movies.
yeah, there will be like 40 assassins in a city for no reason.
Yep.
You don't need 40 assassins in a
Everyone's an
city.
assassin. Yeah. Ideally, you just only have like one or
Excommunicado.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, I'm done.
ideally we don't need any assassins.
Yeah, no.
crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of like they really go to show that. Like they have I'm trying to think of a past movie so I don't spoil anything, but they'll just do like a call out for assassins, and then there's swarms of people that are just trained killers for no
That's why I
reason.
said
It's like,
when the excommunicado. Oh crap, he's done. If you get banned from the like whatever League of Assassins it is, like you're done. You're...
There are no other careers for you.
Yeah.
Like, also, there's got to be way more money flow in this world than because like they're all making hundreds of thousands of dollars off killing, but there's nobody to kill. They're just killing each other. There's got to be. The economy's whack in that movie, man.
Yep. Oh yeah, sure is.
I was way overthinking it watching some of the scenes.
Those movies get progressively more like cheese ball, and I love it. Like, yeah, they lean into it.
I was blown. I was like, why isn't anyone reacting? So I started like deep diving in why they're not reacting. It's so funny.
Yeah.
The other movie that I watched is Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and that's the prequel to Hunger Games.
Yep.
And I saw the trailers, and I wasn't really all that excited. A prequel to Hunger Games. Like, I like Hunger Games. Okay, that last movie. What was it called? Mockingjay.
Part 1 and 2.
Kind of lost me, and I don't remember anything about that movie except that it had an explosive ending.
I watched Catching Fire, and that was it. I mean, I watched the first two.
Well, those are the best two. You don't really need to watch Mockingjay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So it was kind of like I went in with really low expectations because it's a spinoff, and I'm not excited about it. And I'm noticing too with the strikes, like I haven't seen much trailers for things.
Yeah.
And so my assumption is that the trailers aren't showing. Like in my mind, I go, "Oh, this movie's not good because I haven't seen any trailers for it." And if the marketing's not good, they're not trusting it to do well. Well, that's not really the case
because these movies that are coming out
would have gotten advertising.
Yeah, so like these movies that are coming out now are still kind of a victim of the strike because it's like, oh, they were still striking, so they couldn't market them. Like, I got a bunch of movie posters from my old from the old movie theater because my cousin used to work there. There was so many extras like and of stuff they didn't even use because of the strike. Yeah, so it's
and so in my head I'm like, this movie's not gonna be great. I didn't even see any ads for it, but of course I didn't because the strike was happening. So
yeah, and I think the only one we probably did watch was we probably talked about it like a month or two ago on the podcast.
Right, yeah.
And that was
we watch stuff on YouTube every once in a while. But
yeah.
No, the movie really surprised me. It's very well written, and it showed me... I always go back to MCU because I'm such a MCU fan. And I don't think that we have a superhero... What do they call it? Fatigue. I think we just have a bad writing fatigue. And Guardians 3 really showcased that a lot. This movie, I'm not saying it's a masterpiece by any means, but they tried to have a pretty good story, and I think they did a decent job of it. And there were twists and turns, and it was interesting. And I feel like Marvel movies these days just aren't interesting.
Yeah.
And they're not trying for the story factor, and this did, which didn't have to, It's just like a spin-off thing. It could have been just like a meh movie, but it actually was pretty interesting to watch.
Nice. That's cool. That makes me interested to check it out.
Acting was well done. The story was good. I don't think there was much in special effects, but there didn't really need to be. It's good stuff. That is all that I watched, though. What did you watch, LJ?
Nice. So I watched a couple things. I watched a few weeks ago, I guess at this point, I watched Five Nights at Freddy's. Which I thought was not bad. It was okay. Like it
right? Exactly.
Yeah, like I was like, huh. Like it's not really scary. It's definitely got like a mystery, like a story to it that I didn't really like. It's nothing that deep. But I'm like, huh, this is actually kind of a fun movie. It feels like an early 2000s, late 90s movie, I guess. Which makes sense. But it wasn't bad. I was like, I actually kind of enjoy this. Like, so
it's fun. It's cheesy. And would you agree? I think Josh Hutcherson kind of carries that movie in my opinion. What do you think?
He does. I think he definitely does.
He acts really well in it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, not like there's a lot of people in it, but yes, he's definitely. And I feel like as the lead role, you kind of have to. But it's like if you don't care anything about like what's happening to the main character, then you're not going to really care about the movie as a whole. So it's
absolutely.
Just like,
totally.
Yeah. You definitely get invested in this little mystery that they have going. And it wasn't bad, even though like I think I had most of the movie spoiled for me on TikTok. Like before I watched it. But even then, like, I feel like there's still, like, I still hadn't seen the movie, so I was like, oh, okay. Like, this makes more sense now. But it was good. It was fun. I'm very surprised.
Sweet.
I guess I had low expectations. If you want more of a hardcore version or more of a scary version, I'd say check out Willy's Wonderland with Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
That's a rated R movie, but it is, if you're like into like slasher, like violent stuff like that, like, then I guess check it out. If you're into that sort of thing. I thought Willy's Wonderland is a fun movie. So it's like, I think a lot of people are going into Five Nights at Freddy's wanting like something scary because the games are scary, there's jump scares, but that's not really what this is, which I think that's okay too. Like I
agree.
Like my nephew watched it with me, and he's like, and he's maybe a little young still because he's like 6, but still, it's like, I guess they had to make it tame because I think like that's where most people know Five Nights at Freddy's is like, oh, YouTube, or like,
yeah.
I feel like it's one of those weird franchises that weirdly got popular on YouTube, like Hello Neighbor, I think is one of those ones. Like, there's all this
Amnesia,
Five Nights
the
at
Dark Descent.
Yeah,
is another one.
There's all this like Five Nights at Freddy's merch like that has been around for years, and like for some reason like Hello Neighbor is in that camp too, and I'm like, that's so weird. So it's just one of those
even like Slender, the original Slender games. Like there was it's all, and again, I also watched a video essay on this recently because I don't know what I'm doing with my life. But basically, it was just a reflection on the really popular horror indie games that came out during like the early 2010s, early mid 2010s, and how that kickstarted so many YouTubers into becoming super popular, and also these games to becoming really popular. It was like a really symbiotic relationship where these games just happened to be coming out, and they ended up becoming super duper entertaining to watch. I mean, I watched a lot of them, so like I was in that era, right? I watched a lot of YouTubers playing those types of games, and
like Poppy's Playtime is like an extension of that. Apparently, like that's like that's like a thing these days on
exactly. And then there's games where kind of now it's almost like as if they're designed
it's like
for that.
The creepypasta stuff, it's still kind of like
Bendy and
around.
the Ink Machine. There's a lot of controversy behind their devs, but I know especially them. I think they really were like trying to, and I think Hello Neighbor to a good extent too. They were trying to like ride. They were trying to hop on that YouTuber train because it's free publicity. True. It gets people to play your game, but it's not always that successful. Like, I remember specifically Hello Neighbor.
Yep.
There was this time in which they would tweet to MatPat like daily or multiple times a day, trying to get MatPat to notice. Because if you don't know who MatPat is, one, he was in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and two, it's because he makes all these game theory videos, right? He's the game theorist, and so he makes
which
a
we
lot
were
of
mentioned
them
in we were mentioned.
MatPat knows who we are.
Yep, he does.
Yeah, he does exactly. He does know who we are. It's pretty great. But either way, so I just think that's crazy. I don't really remember where I was going with that, but like, yes, Five Nights at Freddy is I don't think was designed to become super popular and viral, but it happened to become super popular and viral, and then it caused people like. Literally people like MatPat, Markiplier, PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, people to like get really popular. It's like, it's crazy. It's so weird.
Yep, it's weird. It's an era. Yeah, it's an era that I'm definitely like. I was not a part of, but it's fascinating.
I was way too into it.
I
was like addicted, and I'm like, I need to stop. And then I stopped.
The other movie I watched, I finally watched it. My plan was I actually bought Oppenheimer. I was gonna watch both movies in a weekend.
Oh my gosh!
I can kind of do my own Barbenheimer thing, but I didn't get a chance to. But I watched Barbie, and so I thought it was really good. I thought it was super smart. It's definitely like dumb on purpose. I think it has a lot to say. Like, it does it in a very surface level way, but it's like I totally get like from like multiple perspectives, like the whole message behind it. And it's funny because I think like there's definitely people I know that have went to see it, and like those themes like are gonna fly over people's heads, I think, very casual like movie audiences, which I love that. Like, it wasn't just this like, oh, we're gonna make a movie about Barbie and it's gonna be this thing to get, you know, people like into this brand again or something. Like it wasn't just nostalgia. Like I'm like, oh, like this director who's well known, like she's actually going to do something fun with it. And, you know, so I was like, okay, cool. Like it was super funny. There's a scene, which is one of my favorite things that Margot Robbie does when she like stiffens up like when she sits down and stiffens up like a board and falls over like a Barbie. I was like, oh my gosh, that is so funny. Cause she like played it. I wonder how many takes they did that in, or if she just did it, because I was just like, oh my gosh, it's so funny. Like just the way she did that. Like, so
it was always so interesting to me, the conversations I would have with people on that movie, because for some it would be like, it was so cerebral, and they're like, yeah, they had a good message, and I'm like, but did you see the message within the message?
Nope. Yeah, see, and that's what I'm saying.
We're like, what?
Well, there's a large part of that movie that's going to fly over people's heads, and I know that happened with some of my family too. They just didn't really get the whole thing, but I just really loved how like there's this perspective when you look at the movie advertised. It's like, oh, that's going to be a girl power movie, and it's like, it kind of is, but not in the way that people like were thinking or try to accuse it of being. I think like there's definitely like, I guess from the male and female perspective, something for everybody in that movie, I think. And I think that's, to me, that's exciting. It's well written. You were talking about like something being well written earlier, and I'm like, yes, this was very clever. And fun, and super fun. I don't want to lose the fact that it is a dumb fun movie. So it just goes deeper than I think any casual audience goer or any casual movie goer probably expected.
Right. I mean, it even took me like a week after watching it, because I watched it and I was like, oh, they're like, this is what they think guys are, you know, with Ken stuff. Because I got really into the Ken thing, and like the Ken message is good. But I started thinking about it more, and I was like, what they learned, like how he learns what a man is through corporations, and so they literally did to Ken what Barbie in the real world, our world, has done to Barbie. And so they were informing.
It is.
Yeah, informing. Like, what Ken was being wasn't what a man is. It was what corporations say a man should be.
Yes.
And there's so much to it. It just gets...
But it's actually so good. I do not get... I'm going to... Maybe this is a hot take.
No, go for it.
If people don't get the point of the Barbie movie, or... I won't say to the point where if you don't like it, but if you don't like it because of how they do represent like gender when it comes to like Ken and Barbie, then you just don't get the movie. That's what I'm saying.
You're missing
like,
the point.
Yeah, you miss the point exactly. Like there's so many people who are just like, well, it's just like sexist. It's sexist. I'm like, no, you literally missed the point. Sorry.
Exactly, and that's kind of what I was trying to say. I guess like they think it's trying to be sexist, but I'm like, nope, because there's some stuff that Ken does that I'm like, guys definitely do that. Like, you know, like,
it's so funny because maybe a mild spoiler, there's a scene in the movie where like a lot of the dude dolls, or you know, the Ken and his bros, they do this thing where they sing to the lady like Barbie and her friends, and I like one I like already died like when I was watching it the first time, but I actually watched Camp Rock again recently just because my sister and I watch these stupid cheesy Disney Channel movies every once in a while, and there's a scene that is just so funny because like when I watched Barbie, I was thinking specifically of the scene with in Camp Rock where Joe Jonas is singing to Demi Lovato. And now that I'm watching Camp Rock, I think of the Barbie scene. So now there's just this connection in my brain, this like forever loop and connection where like every time I see Barbie, I think of Barbie, I think of Camp Rock. And every time I think of Camp Rock, I think of Barbie.
That's great.
Barbie.
It's so funny. But you know, what's funny too is, because I remember talking to, you know, my husband Daniel a lot after this movie and how like I was super able to relate to all this stuff Barbie was like doing and talking about, but he was able to relate from the Ken side, obviously, because like I'm a woman, he's a man. But I think what was also interesting was there's also this idea of like, well, what is a man and woman? What are you made for? And where all these themes sort of pointing to? And I think it was funny. My husband was so like frustrated because the point, we understand the point of like why people exist. It's because of God, right?
Yeah,
we serve God. And so it's like, so it's almost like, I love the movie, but it's almost frustrating to see it get so like close to hitting the nail on the head where it's like, well, what are man and woman, and what are
Yes.
we like made for? What's our purpose? Well, it's not corporations. And I'm like,
It's
okay,
almost-
cool.
it's-
If it's not
it's almost
corporations,
like
what is it? What is it?
they-
It's God. It's God. You just don't want to say it. You just don't want to
Yeah,
acknowledge it.
it's like they get real
You're a
close
coward.
to something, and then they just
Yeah.
don't touch it. You know.
Yeah, they're just
Yeah.
like, well, we're gonna leave it open ended. I'm like, no, don't leave it open ended. We know what the answer is. You just don't want to
But
say
I
it.
love that it got me thinking. It got me thinking way more than I expected it to.
Yes.
get
So good.
And I was like,
It's so
that's-
funny.
It is. There's scenes that I genuinely laughed out loud, and like I was just like, "Oh my gosh, this is so stupid!" And just watching the actors do what they do is so like Ryan Gosling is freaking great in that movie too.
Yeah. Ryan Gosling may have ruined himself for me. There's
Yeah.
some new movie coming out called The Fall Guy.
Yes.
I watched the trailers,
I wanna
and
see
all I
that.
can think of is Ken.
Is Ken.
He's playing the same character.
He's just
He is Ken.
He's just
That is Ken. There are some characters. There are some actors who are just that character.
I added
Yeah.
the Ken song to my like Spotify playlist yesterday, and I'm like, this is a bop. I'm like straight up.
So good.
He's
Anyway,
literally
yes.
playing this like he could be a Ken in that movie. He is a stunt
Yeah.
double,
With blonde
and
hair.
he wants to date the director, and so he's just being charming and Ken like.
He's just Ken again.
He's just Ken.
Like,
Let's
Anyway,
move on
I love
to the movie news, Shelley.
Yeah, so first off, we have a trailer for a movie called The Shift, and it's from Angel Studios, which, if you don't know, is a like Christian movie company.
They do The Chosen. If you haven't seen The Chosen, definitely watch that.
Which is very
It's a TV
good.
show.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're making a new movie, and when you just watch the trailer with like no context, you're kind of like, what's going on? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And then when you're like, oh, this is Angel Studios. Oh, this makes way more sense, but like not in a bad way. It almost makes it better because it's a Christian sci-fi.
It makes
movie,
it more
right?
justified, I guess.
It's
It
like
makes it more.
still, it's still slightly cringy, but like not like I don't know. It walks this line. I feel like
I don't think it
Yeah.
would have been as cringy to me if they wouldn't have gone with Little Light of Mine as a song. Like,
I
the movie
fully
looks
agree.
good to me.
I was like, what does this have to do with the point of the entire...
Yeah.
Like, they're talking about how this guy will, like, shift and see this, like, dystopian sort of world, which, like, that's kind of cool. And, like, later on they're talking about, like, oh, well, we need to find hope here. And I'm like, okay. But why is the song... Is that why the song's related? Wait,
Yeah, this
huh?
Little Light
Like,
of Mine.
I don't understand it in that
And
way.
this weird, like, trailers do this thing now where they just put every song in minor and then
Yep.
make it your song
Yes.
for your...
and they did that with
Just make
That's
it
fun.
creepy. Yeah, that felt... I think that's what made it cringy to me, was just that song. I was like, you should have gone with something different. But
like
I agree.
it definitely looks more like a C tier like low budget movie rather than just like, oh, this looks like a Christian movie or something, like in that-
Exactly.
I wouldn't even go C tier. I would say maybe B movie in
I
a
would
way.
say-
It reminds me a lot of like Netflix releases.
True, yeah.
What's that one with? It's not Stephen Amell. It's his brother, Robbie Amell. It's something about a time loop, but it's got kind of sci-fi vibes. That and then Adam Project. It has some kind of Adam Project vibes to me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Adam
it's
Project was
like-
good. Adam Project was great.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think I'm thankful that finally we're not seeing a Christian movie that's like, oh, in this university full of atheists,
Yeah.
one Christian will prove it all to
See,
them.
and that's
or
what
like,
I like.
look at this miracle, and we can't explain this miracle, so it has to be God. Like, sci-fi is
Mhm.
way more interesting. Come on now. Like, come on.
Angel
It's
Studios
way
is doing
better.
some really cool stuff.
Like, Sound of Freedom. I mean, I did a kind of appreciate their like. I never saw that movie, but I
I haven't
loved
seen
how
that yet, but I've heard it's great.
it barely looked like a like a Christian based studio made it. Like it looked almost like an action movie that like Gerard Butler would have been in or something like that, or
That's cool.
like Liam Neeson, would have been in.
I think that's
You
what
know?
we should probably expect from Angel Studios, or I guess
Yeah.
that would be the bar to me, would be not big movie theater budget movies, Hollywood budget movies, but these kind of like Netflix-esque, like Hulu
Like
original.
the only reason I recognize their movies is because it's literally their movies. You know, they're Angel Studios. Like we know what they are. You know, like
I'm really excited about what they've been working on. I keep getting ads, and I hate to do this, but I do it when I see the ads at Angel Studios. I kind of scroll past. It was actually made me like kind of give this a second look. Was that it was on Screen Rants, and I was like, oh well. Screen Rant's talking about it. Maybe it is a big deal. But they also have something I'm intrigued in called Gabriel and the Guardians. Have you guys seen that at all? Trailers? I'll just send it your way. It is in the art style of Dragon Ball Z. And it's an anime about Gabriel the Angel.
There's actually a...
Super cool.
There's actually a movie, I think, that comes out this month. Oh, I know.
With Lecrae?
Yeah, Lecrae
was
playing
saw it. I
Angel
haven't seen it
Gabriel.
yet,
I can't think of what the movie is called off the top of my head, but I do think that was kind of cool that he got to be in that. Like, but I definitely I want to see what that Gabriel and the Guardians thing is.
There's another thing that they're doing too, the Wing Feather Saga, which looks a lot like kind of Dragon Prince-esque.
Okay.
So what I'm saying with that is like they're trying a lot of different things that I think is really cool that they're like actually going out and
like I give them props for the effort, you know, like I give them props for,
like Shelley said, it's not, you know, God's not dead, it's like actual media that is just happens to be Christian kind of thing.
And again, like what I was saying with the Barbie movie, and sort of in combination of like what we even do here at Geeks Under Grace, you can find God in pretty much anything, and sometimes you just need to. Sometimes something being Christian isn't about like is it making all these references, is doing all this stuff. But sometimes it's just naming what's obvious, because in a lot of media you'll see like these themes that for a Christian, at least maybe just for me, it seems obvious. Like, oh, this is what this is, right? This is what it's, especially ideas of like, what are we like living for? Ideas of like hope and joy, and emotions and things like that. I mean, literally so many different things, so many different like movies and games and stuff. Sometimes all it takes is like naming that thing. It doesn't have to be this like, oh, we're overcoming this really dark thing. Or I mean, it can be. I don't know. I was thinking of was it Darkest Dungeon? Like it doesn't have to be like a oh, you're participating in this super sinful life and now you're turning your entire life around. It can be though, if you make it interesting and if you make it realistic. But sometimes you could just make a sci-fi movie and you're fighting the devil, and that's kind of cool, and that can be Christian itself as
like,
well.
It reminds me of like a thing you mentioned with Barbie, and then like we're talking about sci-fi. In Blade Runner 2049, whenever Batista's character, I forget who he's talking to, and he says like, oh, but you've never seen a miracle because of the whole replicant being born, right? You know, they're supposed to be replicants. They're not supposed to be real people. But it's just like, a miracle is such a, you know, a miracle is kind of a term, I guess, that could get thrown around. But like, a miracle is such a faith, the word miracle to me is just such a faith-based thing where it's like, to a replicant or a robot, he sees something as like spiritual. And I'm just like, that's so wild. Like, you know, like you can find a message of faith in like anything, you know, even like for a technically what's supposed to be a robot to like feel something spiritual or like, you know, it's just wild to me. And I think that's like they get there again, you know, like with the themes of creation, you know, like, but it's just like, dang, you know. So,
again, sometimes you just it's refreshing and something can be dubbed Christian just by naming that.
Yeah,
exactly. Like I always go to like one of my favorite movies. I sort of like take this idea from is Moana, because the ocean leading Moana to go on her journey feels so akin to the Holy Spirit to me. It seems like it's just the Holy Spirit basically, like represented for Moana in that way. And basically making that a Christian movie would basically just be naming that like that's what that is. Right. That's the only difference is like we just have to make that step to be able to like kind of make that analogy, because otherwise what does that represent? Right? If you don't have God into the mix, what does that represent?
Right.
Is it important? Does it matter? Does it actually like affect your life? Because at least for me, things only really do when I look at it from that spiritual standpoint of like, oh, this can affect me because God is real and the Holy Spirit's real and Jesus is real and all that stuff, right?
Right.
Otherwise, then it's like, what's even the point? What's even the point of any of it? Like, Barbie movie, what's the point of asking what you're living for if there is no answer?
Right.
Do you have to find the answer yourself? Or can you look to God, right? I don't know. That's just, I'm kind of on the soapbox a little bit, but, you know.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's stop talking about that. Let's talk about the next news piece. I don't know how to transition, so I'm just like hard cutting it off. We're getting another Karate Kid movie, ladies and gentlemen.
Drop kick that out of there. Crane kick that out of there.
Nice.
We're getting another
You're
Karate
welcome.
Kid movie, but
That was
we're getting it.
That was an illegal.
Stop.
Like a transition,
Segue.
like an illegal segue.
Just say the movie. Let's just talk about it. Like news. So it's gonna have Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio, which is cool. Because obviously they were in the original ones, and usually I am so pessimistic to old movie franchises being brought back out of the woodwork with the original actors. I think it always feels really tacky and desperate, but I feel that this is an exception, specifically because of the existence of Cobra Kai.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because usually, if this was just coming out of nowhere and Cobra Kai didn't exist, I would just be like, oh, like they're really desperate again. They just want to make another, Karate Kid movie, blah blah blah. But here, there's like a universe getting formed.
They've proven their chops, I guess, to do it right.
What surprised me was the last time. Wait, did you say Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio yet?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I was like, did we get there?
Yes.
Ralph Macchio said that he wasn't in this movie, that they were making some new Karate Kid movie that he was not involved with, and that it was going to be this whole different thing in a spinoff, and we all hated it.
Mm-hmm.
But here we are. I'm excited
the Jaden
about it.
Smith version. But now, I mean, again, and maybe it's a slight bias because I do really like Cobra Kai, but I think, again, we've talked about Cobra Kai, we talked about how that show's really great because not only does it directly reference the original Karate Kid movie that everybody loves, they also reference and bring characters back from the other movies that are already, they're very well known as not being very good. They really maintain the whole Karate Kid timeline. Yeah. And they respect all of its material, and so I think it doesn't even necessarily have to directly connect with Cobra Kai. I'm sure there's going to be a reference or two, or it might be really hard for him to stay completely away from all Cobra Kai stuff. I don't want to necessarily turn into an MCU situation, right? But I think the point it being is that it is so respectful to the original material. Yeah. And this could be a really cool addition to that world that they're already kind of making, that sort of timeline that they're already making. It could kind of add in, and then maybe the next season of Cobra Kai will talk. I don't know. I think it could. I don't think it. I think.
Do you think we'll get a Jaden Smith
in
this with Jackie Chan? Because Jackie Chan was his Miyagi.
I think that'd be sick.
It'd be so
completely
weird.
Honest. I grew up watching that Karate Kid. I did not grow up watching the original Karate Kid. I grew up watching the Jaden Smith one.
That's what I was going to say. There's definitely an audience for the Jaden Smith one. I actually didn't mind it. I'm like, okay, this isn't the thing that I'm sure people want. But I liked it. I thought it was fine. I'm like, this is all right.
I think it was the weird special effects. They made it like a old kung fu movie, and that made it weird.
Having kids still beat up on each other was kind of still odd, I guess.
I thought it was a neat idea though, where Karate Kid is the original. I don't know, it's just a random white kid in California learning karate. I really liked the spin of here's this kid who's also a person of color in China.
It almost feels like a proper, it feels like it makes a lot more sense that way, I guess.
It makes way more sense because, if you've ever been to, China or anywhere near China, there aren't a lot of other people there, right? Even if you're white, if you go there, you are an exception and people will stare at you. So that is going to be even intensified if you're a person of color, right? And I think that was explored really well. And it also just, it's not just you're moving, already moving is hard, but it's because I've never really liked the whole trope of oh, you're moving and you're the new kid and the bullies are just going to pick on you. It's no, they not justified reasons for picking on him, or I guess not valid reasons for picking on him, but super understandable and realistic reasons for picking on him.
Realistic,
just like,
yeah.
hey, you're not from here, and we're gonna bully you. And he's just trying to make friends, and then he ends up, meeting Jackie Chan or whatever. But either way,
I will say the only way, the one of the big reasons, at least because of my knowledge, that like the original Karate Kid works to me is because there is like a martial arts scene in Southern California. Like they have like there's like a big martial arts tournament in Long Beach. Like that's even mentioned in like that's even mentioned in like, I think there was a biopic that was done like on Bruce Lee. And like, sick. There was like, and Bruce Lee like fought in one of those like tournaments down there too. So like, and then I think when my brother, I think we went on a trip for my brother to compete too. So it's like, knowing that scene is there, like that, it kind of makes sense in that way. But yes, in the most basic of senses, like the Jaden Smith one does work like way better.
Like I don't even know if Jaden Smith necessarily needs to show up in this movie or anything. But so long I've wanted that crossover to happen.
They need to bust out Never Say Never up in there again. Him doing a little rap. They need
It's like long before Cobra Kai was even a thing. I was like, I want Jaden Smith's movie to be like canon and part of the greater Karate Kid.
I kind of hoped for a sequel, but they never did one.
I know. So anyway, who knows? Maybe it won't be connected. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. But I think this could be good. This doesn't have to be bad. I hope it's not bad. I hope it's good. And they are doing casting call.
Yeah.
I think their next Karate Kid.
The next Karate Kid was Hilary Swank. I mean,
yeah.
That's literally what the movie was called.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair. But,
that's what we need in Cobra Kai. We need more of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That really could connect things. And then this movie, craziness.
Crazy.
The KCU Karate Cinematic Universe.
I almost feel like this movie should be Cobra Kai's finale.
That would be amazing.
That'd be crazy.
And then Jackie Chan brings it full circle.
It'd be the Infinity War of like Cobra Kai.
That just makes sense.
It does. It makes total sense.
It's like we're not gonna acknowledge Jackie Chan's world.
I mean, we are kind of in the end game of Cobra Kai anyway, so it's like
yeah, exactly. I think we'll get Hilary Swank next.
Yes, we have to.
Yeah, if we don't, I'll be very surprised. It'll be because they can't get her. They have to be trying.
Yeah.
There's no way they're not. We'll get into TV we've watched. I actually haven't seen any TV this week. I need to catch up on Invincible, and I want to watch Scott Pilgrim. I haven't been able to yet.
Oh, I forgot about Scott Pilgrim. It's so good too. I forgot.
Go ahead, LJ. You got a few things.
I do. Well, Scott Pilgrim is really good. So I was one of the. Actually, I'm probably in the camp of a lot of people. I was first introduced to Scott Pilgrim with the movie, and then I really enjoyed that. And then they made the video game, which is like on sale for like $4 right now on like every platform, like $5. So if you want to go check that out, it's really good. And the show's really good. The show, and I'm going to say this without any spoilers, the show definitely puts a spin on things in the same way that He-Man did, that He-Man animated show, Revelations. It puts a spin on things like that show does, and I know that show got a lot of flack for it. Be like, oh, this isn't He-Man, but like Scott Pilgrim does something in a similar way, and I think it's really good for it. It definitely adds more to every character in it, not just the main character. It's, a lot of the evil X's and just all of Scott Pilgrim's, like, all the supporting characters. They definitely get their time in the spotlight. Really good writing. That's going to be my theme for the TV I'm talking about, because everything I feel like I've been watching is so well written. Scott Pilgrim is super good. I actually found out the books, like, because I've been wanting to read the Scott Pilgrim books. They're all free they're all free on Prime Reading right now.
Yo.
And Kindle. Yes. And so like I have the volume 1 downloaded because like I want to check it out, but like that's my only gap in my fandom. Like I think I reviewed a board game for our tabletop department one time that was Scott Pilgrim because I was the only one with the knowledge on it. Which it wasn't even that extensive. So Super good. The other show I have watched, and I binged most of it in like a day. I watched like 4 episodes in a day. Was Loki. I finished season 2, and that show is like, it's a lot more like concise. Like, it's a lot more focused than I expected they were gonna get. Like, I thought they were trying to. I figured they were going to try to connect some threads, so to speak, but they they definitely didn't. And I really love a character. Loki used to be a character I did not care about at all. Just this cheesy villain, like, oh, it's Tom Hiddleston, so everybody can simp over him. Cool, whatever. But he has one of the best character arcs in the Marvel Cinematic Universe now. That's such a turnaround for a character. Yeah, it's great. Super good. I do recommend it. Well written. Whoever wrote that, like, Marvel can still like produce good, like, well written stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Then I am caught up on Invincible. If y'all want something, I don't know. I mean, I guess the violence and stuff like that. Yeah, the adult content is like, sure. If you're not comfortable with that, then don't watch it. But I mean, it's definitely mostly just like super bloody and violent, I think.
It's gory.
Yeah. But it's super good. It's still really good. Season 2 has not disappointed at all. And I think for those of you who have not caught up on it, it's so worth it. I don't watch show, like, I don't keep up with shows much these days, I feel like, but every Friday night I've been watching, or Saturday morning, I guess, that, like, instantly, like, whenever it comes out, when I get a chance, when I get off work, I'm like, yeah, I'm watching Invincible. So, yeah, super good. All really good shows. Yeah.
We will get into the TV news then. Got a couple of big ones here. Let's start with the one that's probably a little bit smaller, and that is that Marvel's What If Season 2 has a trailer. It came out a little while ago, but we missed last week for Thanksgiving. So, no, it looks really great. It's coming out on December 22nd for 9 days in a row.
That's weird.
Saw that right. Yeah, 9 consecutive days. As our gift to you is how the description is written.
I mean, you could have just put it in one day.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to do.
Gift.
But I don't hate this. It's better than having to wait weekly, kind of thing. And I honestly, I don't know. I might actually want this more. Like, if Loki would have come out 1 episode a day for a week, and then I could go to work and have something to talk about every single day. I think that'd be cool. I don't know if I would necessarily want that with Loki specifically, because Loki was so good and there was so much to process. But some of these weaker shows, like Secret Invasion, that would have been cool to come out daily. And yeah,
What If Season 2 is interesting because there's like a new hero that's like not like, I guess it's original to like What If. And
yeah,
it's like that. It's like that native. Crazy. I think it's like a native looking American looking girl.
She's definitely Native American. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
And she's not Echo. She's from the past.
Yes, and so that's kind of interesting. I'm like, okay, like they're trying to create a new character for TV.
My biggest burn from season 1 was that Supreme Strange never made a cameo in Multiverse of Madness, and that made no sense to me.
That would have been awesome, but Multiverse of Madness wasn't that great either. So, like,
why even make Supreme Strange if you're not going to showcase him in
a multiverse themed thing?
Yeah, like that was. I thought it was a setup for Strange or for Doctor Strange, and it wasn't at all. He fights someone with a beard, and I thought that was going to be Supreme Strange, and it wasn't at all.
It was just zombie. Yeah, it was just like a bad,
Such a broken opportunity. Lost opportunity.
So it's weird because, like, is the What If universe, like the multiverse thing, the same as Doctor Strange's multiverse? And then, like, we got Loki's timeline stuff now? Like, is there, like, 2 or 3
the multiverse is based off of the timeline.
It's a multiverse.
Yeah. So the multiverse couldn't happen. What If couldn't happen until the timeline started branching.
Ah, that makes sense.
And that's why we haven't seen anything branched in the movies until before Loki opened the door. I think. Yeah. Canonically, that's what makes sense to me.
That fits better in my headspace than, like, okay, which is which.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now it's really all over the place because of the Loki. Yeah. But I don't know. It would make more sense to me if they would have, like, they had the nod. I think it was in the ads, but spoiler for Multiverse of Madness, they had Captain Carter, in Multiverse of Madness, but it was like you literally had a Doctor Strange in there.
Everything they teased was cameos, you know, like it was just
Yeah.
It wasn't really like anything important.
Like if they would have put Supreme Strange even as a cameo, I guess, like that would have paid off the show a bit more. Because right now I'm kind of like, what's the point of the show besides to showcase us?
Yeah, because the Supreme Strange stuff was nuts. Like that whole story of Supreme Strange is crazy.
Which I want to say that totally fine if that's what you want to do. If you don't want it to have anything to do with the real like movie universe, but they did. Like they made it this like canonical story in the end of What If season 1. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's super cool. It all has a point. But if you're gonna give it a point, then allow it to have its place in the MCU too. I think. But it's just weird decision making.
I agree.
In my opinion. But this looks good. I'm excited for it.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, some really cool what ifs going on in there. Then the other thing, this is huge to me. Dave Filoni has become the chief creative officer of Star Wars, and that's a pretty big role.
It is.
Dave Filoni, if you like Star Wars, it's probably like stuff that Dave Filoni's done.
Yeah,
I still think Dave Filoni is the best option. I think he's still like. There are times where I feel like not that he's like full of himself or whatever, but I feel like
no, I know what you mean.
There's just like so much, especially I guess with like the reception on Clone Wars and Rebels and stuff. It's like that stuff is all still really good, but like I don't know. There's just something about like there are times where it's like, ooh, like I hope what he does and his ideas like stay consistent. Yeah. You know, because I feel like even the Boba Fett thing and like even Mandalorian to a degree, like I feel like there's some stuff that I still really like that Dave Filoni's doing, and there's stuff that I'm like, oh, that seems a bit too much.
Yeah, like he struck gold with Clone Wars, and did he work on Rebels too?
Yes.
So both of those, right? And those were obviously
Rebels is more like shorter and consistent. I feel like they still had the first season that was kind of still felt very kids showy, but like that show it definitely evolved. Like
yeah, like a bunch of people watch Clone Wars, then Rebels, of course, and then Star Wars and Disney Plus, and they're just like, well, let's put these shows back on there, and now we're gonna make a bunch of content that's in this timeline, and we had characters who are from this timeline. Let's throw them in there. And Dave Filoni, it just seems like I get the feeling he really, really likes his characters. He really, really likes his stories, and a lot of them are really good and really great. But
he also might be having to do this stuff for the
not
big
everything
dogs.
needs to be Clone Wars,
right? Like I think Disney. I don't know if it's Disney that's being like, oh, you have to include this stuff or whatever.
True. Yeah. Who knows?
But I know. Yeah. So it's just one of those things. I'm like, what's Disney trying to control in it, and what's he trying to control? Kind of a thing.
All I know is that, especially Big Boba Fett, seems that particular is so like obvious. It seems like because the entire Book of Boba Fett, the entire show is one thing, and then like 2 or 3 episodes are entirely different, and it's like, oh yeah, Dave Filoni was in charge of those, and that just seems like, oh my gosh, like. Yeah. But those were the best episodes, so it's kind of like a what do you do? Like,
and then Jon Favreau with like Mandalorian stuff. It's like.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
It's I mean I think this is overall positive, but yeah.
I just don't want.
One thing to note: he didn't do Andor,
right?
And he only allegedly directed a scene in Rogue One, and that was Darth Vader massacring a bunch of rebels.
Interesting. I just don't want like.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just gonna say I don't want it to be like too much of a good thing, kind of, because I feel like we're already kind of like heading towards those waters a bit, you know.
I would hope that, and I think he does have a respect for Rogue One, and Andor and all those kind of things, and so I think that he would probably, I think he'll allow that. I would hope that he sees his imperfections where he can kind of utilize other people for stuff.
For sure, it's not just a one-man show. I would hope not.
I would worry that he'd be like, no, none of that was mine, so we're going to do my thing.
What's up with Star Wars and director issues? Because that's literally, and again, hopefully that doesn't happen, because hopefully he can work with other people and, again, realize that he can't just do his thing all the time. But that's just Star Wars. Is different directors, that's what screwed over the sequel trilogy, was this director, and again, who knows how much Disney had their hand in it, but I don't know, it just reminded me of that. It's just so unfortunate when you have all these people with all really good ideas, but then you have to have them do a cohesive thing where it's all like,
there's not really any
maybe
communication.
just do entirely separate things in entirely separate timelines.
Yep.
Or not timelines per se, but different parts of the timeline, like different parts of the universe, different parts of the galaxy. There's so much to Star Wars. I don't think we need to have it all connected, which I think is why Andor was so good, and that's why some of this Dave Filoni stuff can kind of feel a little bit, not suspicious, but again, it kind of walks this line of like, okay, we've seen all these characters before, and they're really great, but like maybe we should try something new, and maybe we have the opportunity to. And again, with different directors and different creators, you could do that. You could have all these different things. And again, I just always think of Star Wars Visions, which is such a good show because every episode is just on this little almost slice of life of this one planet with these certain people that are disconnected from all the others and disconnected from all the Star Wars canon we basically see so far, and yet they can all simultaneously be part of Star Wars canon. Like, why don't we just do that more? It's so simple to me. Ooh! Whatever.
It's true.
Well,
cool. We'll have to see. Only time will tell. That is the end of the podcast, though. You guys geeking out about anything else this week?
Nope, I think that's it.
No.
Merry Christmas.
Right. Yes.
I know
yeah,
it's
when
not
there.
Christmas yet, but
Like, so we got 2 more weeks. You got 2 more podcasts with us, and then we'll be taking our break. All exciting stuff.
Yep.
I think that's it. Shelley, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at TheShellShock24.
And LJ?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram under LJ the Paladin.
You can find me on Instagram at Cody Armour. Keep gaming, keep praying, and God bless.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. We love hearing from you, so feel free to ask us questions or just comment on the show by using the hashtag GUGcast on Twitter or by joining the GUGcast questions channel in the Geeks Under Grace Discord. If you like this episode, consider leaving a review or rating of our show on your favorite podcast app. If you want even more Geeks Under Grace, you can always go to geeksundergrace.com. We love you all so much, so thank you for listening.